All right, we're just getting ready. We're going live in about a minute. If you are on here, Facebook or YouTube, say hello. It's going to be incredible. Let me go share this in a few other places. And we don't have to start. Oh, the plant-based power is live. Okay, here we go. And this is live. Let's share. Copy link. So I'm excited about this. This is going to be great.
Me too.
Oh, let's not do that. Plant-based power. Okay, we're almost there, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. We have 2 people watching us. That is exciting. We're excited you're here. And we're going to get this rolling in just a second. Oh, here's this event. I'm going to just post a link for all my people that said, hey, hey, hey. Oh, good. It's actually in there. So I don't have to do this extra step anymore.
Okay.
Thank you, Facebook, for making life better, because that used to be a problem. Now it does it great. So hey guys, we are going to go live in just a second. Just right about now. So we are ready. Are you ready, Kirsten Hood?
Ready.
It's gonna be super fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and go for it. Welcome to Tower Garden Live. Here we go. Super excited today. Here's what we're going to talk about. What would it be like if you didn't just have a tower garden, but what about these people with multiple tower gardens? What if you had 2, 3, 4? I know people with 9. I know people with 30. Okay. And it is some awesome stuff. So I figured let's talk about what it's all about, and maybe what it's like, and maybe why you might want to have multiple tower gardens today on this show. I don't know what to call it. Is it a podcast, a show, a stream? I don't know. I'm gonna call it the show. I always wanted to be a TV star, so here I am. But we have a very, very, very special guest. We have Kirsten Hood. Say hello,
Woo-hoo.
Kirsten.
Hey guys, great to be with you. Excited
Yes.
to share my tower gardens.
Oh, it's going to be great. And Kirsten has been doing this quite a while and is a very experienced tower gardener. I've known her for a long time, probably 20 years. And
so.
She lives down in, are you still in Boca Raton?
Yes.
Of course. You can't take this girl out of Boca Raton.
No.
Come on. But it's going to be amazing. And let's just jump right in. So tell us a little bit about your tower garden journey.
Well, first thing I have to tell you is that my whole life, I have not been able to grow anything. Whenever anyone gave me any kind of flower or plant or anything from my home, I'm sorry. I wish I had a green thumb, but I killed it always. It just never worked. And so when Tower Garden came out, to be honest, I was really nervous. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this. But I love the concept. I love the idea of it. It looked really simple. It almost looked foolproof. like anybody can do this. And so I ventured and I bought my first tower garden. And I'll tell you what, that first experience with the tower garden was so much fun. I did not mess. I mean, you can mess up and it still works. I grew so many plants. I just got your basic tower garden that has 20 openings. I grew probably like 10 different types of plants, 2 of each kind. And I had great success. The taste was phenomenal. And I kind of went a little crazy after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's rewind. So
Yeah.
this is the beginning. That's like 12 years ago or so. I remember when they came out. We both jumped on that bandwagon and started doing tower gardens. But tell us a little something funny that you grew or a fail or something that happened to you along the way.
Well, I started growing broccoli, which is humongous. The leaves are massive. And I got one head, which was fabulous. I cut it off and I didn't realize that it would grow more. So that was kind of a surprise. It grew like 4 more little heads around the side. But it really took over the whole bottom of my tower garden. One time, several times, I would come outside and there would be a cardinal sitting on top of my tower garden trying to pick all my basil or going after some of my food. And I found a way to get rid of that. I had an iguana in mine one time. I'm sure people are wondering about pests. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the first time I grew my cucumbers, I could not believe how they spread. I mean, I had them going all over the floor of my pool deck, and I could have probably put a trellis and had it grown right up the side of my house. I had no idea. The viney plant just took off. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I had something similar happen when I grew. I didn't realize what mint was like. And mint is just a monster, So I planted like 4 mints around the bottom or something crazy. And you just can't imagine how one plant can just take over and the roots grow down and it was just out of control. So
did it grow out of some of your pots and stuff?
Oh yeah, it starts coming out of other holes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like as the roots spread, they start creating new plants, and mint will be after a nuclear holocaust. All that's going to be left is mint. It's going to be there. Alligators and mint.
Right.
Okay. So, all right. So you guys that are watching live, I see some of you guys in there. I do see some comments coming in. And Kirsten, you can click on that top comment thing on the right and you can see them too. Some people saying hello. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in, even if you're watching the replay, because I'll come back and we'll be looking at this stuff. So please give us some of your questions, and we're gonna have a spot later on where we can address any of those questions that are coming up. Also, don't forget to like, add, follow, no matter what other platform you're seeing this on, because this show is happening weekly or maybe bi-weekly. I'm not sure yet, but it just has a lot of information. I'm trying to keep it real. It's not like a big salesy type of a show. It's just about like what's going on with tower gardens and getting some tips and tricks and things like that. All right. So, well, let's go to our next question for you, Kirsten. And that is, why 4 tower gardens?
I know. Well, I started obviously with just one. And because I had success, and at the time, 12 years ago, I still had 3 boys at home, I needed more. One tower garden for a family of 5, I was going through the produce pretty quick. And it did well, but I needed a second one. So I bought a second one and loved that. And, I think I just got addicted. It's really hot here in the summertime. So I ended up buying a third, and I got the lights and I brought it inside because I couldn't grow lettuce in the summertime in Florida. It's, 95 degrees, the humidity. Lettuce does not like, at least romaine and green leaf and all that. They like a cooler climate. And so I bought my third one, brought it inside, put lights on, and grew all year round. We recently moved we downsized and moved just a smaller location, and I brought it back outside and got a fourth. So
Oh yeah.
now I've got all four. And honestly, it's because I like to try a lot of different things. Tomatoes, really do really well with other tomatoes within its own section, and it kind of takes over. So I wanted to have a tomato tower. Then I wanted to have a kale tower. Then I wanted to have, more of my Swiss chard and arugula and that kind of stuff. So I kind of divvied them up. Right now I've got kale in two towers and I've got basil in two towers, and I'm spreading them out. But it was more about getting more plants.
Mm,
Honestly, I really don't want to go to the grocery store to buy produce. I want to grow it all myself.
yeah. I
Hmm.
feel the same way. With four, it just loads you up. And we'll talk more about that. But I notice your husband, Bill, is in the background and he's got a camera also. So I'm going to bring that camera on screen because I think he thinks we've been using the camera the whole time. So if he keeps
Okay.
walking around, maybe you can just give a tour and kind of talk through like what we're seeing on screen.
Yeah. Bill, will you start with one of them?
I'm
Okay.
going to
So this
remove.
is, yeah,
Okay.
this is one of our towers that's pretty full grown. So you can see all along the bottom is the kale. And I probably have 8 or 9 net pots that are full of kale. And I think I even have like 2 or 3 um, plants in each net pot. So that's a lot of kale right there. Then when you come up, you'll see some romaine lettuce. That's one of my favorite lettuces to grow on the tower. And I'm really big into arugula, kale, and romaine. And those 3 I use in my salad every single day. Here's the second tower, some more kale. You'll see some Swiss chard and the little babies at the top. Kale's going to grow all year, and you just pick it from the bottom and you pick it all the way up. But the romaine, you're going to pick it for a while and then it's going to bunt and you need to pull it and start over. So you'll see at the top I've got some new baby seedlings starting again because they're new romaine. And you'll have a little bit. That's the other reason why I like 4 towers, is because I've got some full grown, I've got some halfway, I've got some starting again, and I can just keep that revolving basis. So those are my first 2 towers. This third one is starting over. There are a lot of smaller ones in here. I've got 1 tomato in here. Up at the top is the arugula. And I actually am getting ready to pull those, but you'll see a lot of little babies are just getting started again because this is my arugula tower, which is spicy. You will never have a better arugula than you will on the tower garden. And then my 4th tower is almost all tomatoes. I just cleaned it out. So you're looking at most of the actual tomatoes. Bill, I don't know if you can get closer, but I want them to see, it's oh my gosh, they're the Campari tomatoes, or they are the sweetest tomatoes. You see them on the vine there, that there's like 12 or 16 in one little row. And I have never tasted a better tomato than I have on the tower garden. I think I've only got like maybe 5 or 6 tomato plants in there, but they took over. And when you clean out your tower, which is important with the tomatoes, when you get rid of some of the excess um, leaves and the excess branches, it sends all the energy back to the bottom of the plant, the roots of the plant, and then they start new shafts. So, Bill, I don't know if you can show close to one of the net pots in there, but you'll see where there are some brand new shoots that have just started because I've trimmed it back, and you'll see the little yellow flowers there. I'm going to get a whole new bushel of tomatoes. And it's not like you're just going to get one little season. It's almost like you're going to get 2 or 3, and it's just going to keep going as you glean and harvest and clean out your plants. So, oh, they're just so yummy.
Wow. Wow. And you're making me a little jealous from being in South Florida. I moved out of South Florida up to
Yeah.
North Florida, and it's the same state, but it's very different. Like my
Mhm.
tomato plants, they're growing, but those flowers just won't come yet. It's just too
Ah,
cold.
too
But
cold.
what I will say about North Florida is we get all these 40 and 50-degree days, like so many of them, and the lettuces are just going crazy. And it's
I
just
bet.
awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to give a quick little tour of what I got going. I shot a video just this morning, and this is what it looks like. So Can you hear me now? Oh man, I was talking the whole time. I know. Look, but you can hear me now, okay? Okay, good. Okay, so I have four as well. And you see how that second one is kind of like it wasn't very full because I take that same approach. So let's talk about some good reasons to have multiple towers. Number one, like Kirsten said earlier, is that one tower is going to give you a lot of great produce, but it's not always going to give you all the produce you wish you had to completely eliminate the store. It's kind of like when you have a tower, you're supplementing your produce with stuff you have to get from the store because maybe if you only have 20 ports, you might have, you probably want to have at least 8 lettuces going. And it was funny when Kirsten said, oh, when I first got it, I had 2 plants of 10 different things.
Yeah.
And new tower gardeners typically do that, but quickly you realize that's fun, but it's not going to give you the kind of yield you really want. So I like to go with staples. My staples are lettuces, bok choy, basil, celery, green onions, things like that. But I need to grow a certain number of them to really have enough. And then in addition to that, so I have one tower that's kind of like my lettuce tower. That's the one all the way on the right. The next one over is going to kind of start working in some other types of greens like arugula, Swiss chard, and kale. The third one over is right now is about to become my new tower. So I like to have a baby tower, and I saw Kirsten had that. It's kind of hard to achieve that though, isn't it? Because they grow at different rates. And then, but the nice thing is, like here's what Kirsten was trying to show you guys. This is a lettuce, and they grow in rock wool. Really simple, but you can pull out the plants and move them to a different tower garden. So you can kind of reorganize as long as the plants aren't too big and overgrown and too difficult to get back in and whatnot. So I like to have a tower garden where I can start my babies. Like here's the babies, and I'll grow a lot of babies, and then because I'll give some to my new customers or sell them to people that are current tower gardens or whatever. But then I like to plant one particular thing. Like right now, I'm focusing on basil. I also like to pick something that I'm specializing in. So I feel like I could grow lettuce commercially. Like I know lettuce perfectly. I know bok choy now. Basil is something that really bothers me because sometimes it's amazing. Then other times I'm struggling with my basil. So I'm currently in a phase of trying to get my basil perfect. So that's just how I do it. And then that last tower garden is kind of like a newer one. My other ones are 12 years old. And I will point this out too with Kirsten, is that we both have had these towers since they came out like 12 years ago. That means basically full sun in Florida where the sun is very intense. So these are double UV coated, food grade plastic. They hold up really well, as you can see right there in the camera behind you there. So let me go back to Kirsten and ask you, what do you do with all this produce?
I give a lot away.
Yeah.
I've got 3 boys that are now all married. And one of my sons just got his first tower garden so he and his wife are growing their own lettuce, which they love. But the other 2, I end up giving them a ton of kale and basil and tomatoes all the time. And I'm posting on Facebook saying, hey, I've got an overcrop. Who wants some? I'll bring some to my friends at church, but I'll freeze things. I'll take the tomato seeds from my tomatoes and start seeds so that I can have those for the next time. And I eat a lot more produce. I make a lot of soups, which I love, and lots of salads.
What I love is like right now I have a ton of kale. And I really need to pick it soon, but it's too much to eat. So I love just saying, okay, I have a lot of kale. Let me go on the Forks Over Knives website and look up kale and find a cool recipe or a salad or whatever. But then I also go into my community group on Facebook and say, hey, guys, I have too much kale. Stop by Friday between 4 and 5 p.m. if you want a bunch of kale. I have people come in. I like to show them the tower garden, show them off. I know people that give away stuff to like food pantries. I know people that, like I said, give it away in their community. I know people have like very small scale selling of their produce.
Hmm.
So they'll just say like Friday afternoon in the driveway or whatever, the farmers market's popping up, and maybe they plan it out so they have like a bunch of kale ready to go. You can also do things where people pre-order things and you fill those orders. I know people that in believe it or not in St. Louis, who I know a guy, I think he's a truck driver. He's filled his garage with 30 tower gardens and put in a lighting grid, a heating unit, and a cooling unit. So it's year round. And he's making thousands of dollars a month selling produce to small restaurants and stuff. So sky's the limit. It's super easy. I'm also not a gardener by nature. I've killed many of plants in the ground. But the tower gardens, somehow they just keep going and going and going. So, Kirsten, you promote tower gardens. You share them with others. You sell them. So, tell us a little bit about that.
I do. Well, I love to help people with their health. The mission of our whole company is to inspire healthy living around the world. And I think Tower Garden is super inspiring. People do not eat enough fruits and vegetables, you guys. Children do not eat enough fruits and vegetables. And if you have a tower garden, your kids are going to be so excited about it. It's a project. They're going to want to try the tower garden produce. They're going to want to plant the plants. They're going to want to watch them grow. It's a science experiment that really for the whole family. And there's huge, huge benefits. So I love sharing the tower garden. I wish every family had at least one tower. But we do have an awesome family garden that has 3 towers, and I think that's really perfect. If you've got a family of 4 or 5 or 6, getting 3 tower gardens is really going to be the best way for you to start saving at the grocery store. You're going to just get awesome produce. You're going to be able to grow really almost anything you need, and it's an amazing benefit. We're helping the environment. We are helping ourselves. We're healing our gut. There's so many benefits to the tower garden. So I love sharing it.
Absolutely. And Kirsten and I both work for the same company. I'm going to put her social media links into the comments on Facebook and into the description on YouTube. If you want to get in touch with Kirsten, you can do that. If you want to get in touch with me, you can do that as well. And we would love to get you started as a tower gardener, either with 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a whole farm. Who knows? The sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. And we will take one question. I will ask. Okay, I see a good question. Is what about pests? I did notice something on one of your towers, and I want you to tell a little bit about that.
Okay, Bill's gonna take the camera and show. I don't know if you can put him on the screen, but this is what we ended up getting was this solar powered owl. We ordered it on Amazon. And you can turn it on. I mean, it's amazing. It lights up. Like right now, I don't even have it on. I just have it sitting on the tower. And it absolutely deters any kind of animal. I mentioned that we once came out and saw an iguana out there and it was eating up my cucumbers. I was not happy about that. I bought this solar powered owl and I haven't had an issue with the iguana since. It motion detector. So if something comes walking by, even yourself, it'll hoot at you
Yeah.
and it'll light up at you. And it's deterred any pests. Now I don't use any pesticide or herbicide on mine. I don't even use like the Dawn and water spray or neem oil or anything. If I find any type of pests, like a white fly, or if I find any kind of, I forget, there's another little guy that goes on there. I just
aphids or something.
Yeah, the aphids. I pull either just the leaves or I pull the plant so that it doesn't spread. And that has really kept it at bay. I have not had an issue with bugs this year. But you just want to be talking to your plants, spraying them down every once in a while. If you haven't had a lot of rain, get out there with, your hose and spray down your tower garden. Because I know it's getting water on the roots, but the leaves aren't. And you definitely want to wash them a little bit. That has helped me with bugs and just watching for them so that if you see something come, you can grab it right away. I've noticed a lot of ladybugs on mine, and ladybugs are awesome because they'll eat up all those aphids and all the, extra pests that you don't want. What have you found, Doug?
Well, I do use a little bit of the organic, natural type of pest control sometimes, but this year, and more so in Jacksonville than South Florida, I don't find a need at all
Yeah.
for any of that. In South Florida, I sometimes used to do a Sunday evening routine of just prevention of just some neem oil mixed with water, and I know when you have the tomatoes, like if you get any of those hornworms on there, caterpillars, they will tear
Yeah.
that thing up quick.
Oh,
So they have that BT Thurside stuff that's natural, that works really well. So I
mhm.
mean, it's super easy. You don't have to put dangerous chemicals onto your food. You don't have to do any of that stuff. I do notice we have a couple of Tower Garden celebrities in the chat. I noticed that our guests. Well, I'll say who the guest is for next week. But I see another celebrity, that's Nicole Fiel. She is an awesome Tower Garden. And she has put Tower Gardens in all kinds of places, restaurants and schools and the boys and girls clubs. And so, Nicole, I'm going to need to get you on for an episode for sure. But she was asking, what was the name of that owl? Solar
Oh, yeah,
powered
it's
owl,
solar
garden owl
powered.
or something?
Yep, solar powered owl. Mhm. You say motion detector owl, and you can look it up. They have a lot to choose from. Definitely check the ratings. You
What's like
know,
the
it's
price
like
range or
30
something
bucks.
like that? How much?
30 bucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a no-brainer. Because I
Oh,
know a lot of people up here in the community I live in will get deer that wander in from the forest to the backyard sometimes. So people
yes.
worry about deer and bunnies up here,
Mhm. Well, it
and
might help.
yeah, it might help. I mean, it's certainly a better option than trying to build chicken wire or something like
I
that.
know.
So
Oh, and one thing when you're looking for your pests and all, look under the leaves. I've always found that if you just check your towers often and you turn the leaf over, that's where you're going to see, and you can pick off a caterpillar or you can see things before they get out of hand. So just check your tower. Love
yeah.
on it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kirsten, so much for coming on. You're awesome. Absolutely
You're
awesome. And
welcome.
your towers were amazing. And I hope
Thanks.
you guys watching this got some vision for more stuff that you could do with more Tower Gardens, because they are that awesome. Don't forget to like, follow, turn on notification, leave us a comment, leave us some love, because it means a lot. Next
Mhm.
week, another one of our all-stars will be on here, Deborah Bradford, who is an expert at placing Tower Gardens in schools. So actually, Nicole, I might have you on next week with Deborah Bradford, because I know I was going to add some more guests onto that one, because Tower Gardens in schools is very exciting and the stuff going on is super exciting. So it's going to be one you don't want to miss. And that is actually next week. I don't know what I did with my schedule, but it is actually happening next Tuesday. So keep an eye on the Plant-Based Power page. That is where all those notifications will come. And thank you again, Kirsten, for coming
Thank
on. You
you,
guys have a
Doug.
great week.
That was great. Appreciate you.
All right.